Well, we're at the Asian Philosophy Association 2021 conference, and it's been a fantastic day. We've had some great speakers. We've had John Barnes earlier on today, but there's no greater legend in cricket than Farokh Engineer. He was my boyhood idol as I was growing up. Probably the first wicketkeeper batsman in the world that showed that a wicketkeeper could be more than just a wicketkeeper. So Farokh, it's a pleasure to meet you today.
Absolute pleasure, Jag. You've been an old friend of mine.
So tell me, Farokh, as a young man coming to a different country...
You introduced me as a wicketkeeper batsman.
Yeah.
That's the right way, because nowadays there are batsmen wicketkeepers.
Right.
There are batsmen who can also keep wickets. But in our time, predominantly you had to be a wicketkeeper. People like myself, Alan Knott, he was a great keeper too. Yes, it all started well over 50 years ago, because it was in '66, in fact, that changed my whole life. I was a pilot, but I qualified as a pilot, and I was playing cricket, amateur cricket, and then gradually university cricket, state cricket, test cricket. And before I knew, well, I'd scored one of the fastest centuries in test cricket. I got 94 before lunch of the first morning of a test match against the West Indies.
But that was an era where 100 runs was probably a lot for the whole day, never mind before lunch.
Absolutely, yeah. And these were Wes Hall, Charlie Griffith, Roy Gilchrist, Gary Sobers, some of the fastest bowlers in the world, who took great pleasure in seeing blood on batsmen's faces. And we didn't have any helmets, no protection at all, a pink plastic box that was hardly any protection. And after 94 before lunch, Lance Gibbs came on to bowl first over after lunch. And it was so strange seeing a ball being tossed up. I think I hit him straight out of the ground. The ball is still traveling as we are talking. That's how we got the 100.
What ground was that?
It was in Chepauk. It was a green top wicket where the West Indies won the toss and put us in. But I was invited by 4 English counties. It was John Arlott, the great commentator, who initiated the whole thing, and he wanted me to play for Hampshire. Soon Worcestershire got hold of it, so Worcestershire, then Surrey, and Leicestershire and Lancashire were the last in the scene. A game was played at Southport instead of Old Trafford, because Old Trafford was waterlogged or something. And I kept on hitting this Lancashire bowler to the railway lines. Hit him for about 7 or 8 sixes, till somebody pointed out that was the great Brian Statham. Wow. From India, we are humble people. You respect senior cricketers. I almost apologized to him, when I read it was the great Brian Statham. But anyway, I've been... my whole life I played with Lancashire. Myself and Gary Sobers were initially invited to represent Lancashire, but Sobers and Lancashire couldn't agree to terms, so I qualified the first year, and I recommended the name of Clive Lloyd for the year after. And we had a chairman, Cyril Washbrook, but he said, but Farokh, he wears glasses. I said, never mind his glasses, Mr. Washbrook, you sign him on. You won't go far wrong. My roommate for 10 years, and what a great partnership we had. We won everything in cricket. We were the darlings of Lancashire.
Are you still in touch with Clive Lloyd?
Very much so. We were in Dubai till 3 days ago.
What a wonderful conversation that would be having with yourself and the great Sir Clive Lloyd. As well as Sir Clive Lloyd, who's your idol as far as Indian cricket is concerned, past and present? One past and one present.
I had... just because Polly Umbriga was my captain, and I learnt a lot from him. So I suppose he was my idol, but nobody I could copy in wicket keeping. Godfrey Evans of England was the closest. I'd never seen Godfrey, just seen films of his. And I tried to, not copy, but try and learn from his techniques. He used to stand right wide out. So if your young wicket keepers listening, stand right wide out so you can see the whole thing. But then you've got to be really quick to come down the leg side, for leg side stumping. And my first year with Lancashire, off Brian Statham, of all people, I got about 3 or 4 stumpings when the ball wasn't carrying. And the great man said himself that had I been behind the wickets for him throughout his career. He would have probably finished with twice as many victims.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's a huge compliment coming from a great man.
So what top tips would you give to young cricketers growing up today, particularly with the Yorkshire crisis now, young Asian, South Asian cricketers? What would you say to them?
Yorkshire crisis is sad.
Yeah.
It's sad for the game, sad for the community. You know, it's just sad. Luckily, I played for the Red Rose, where I've had nothing but a lot of love and affection. With the result, I'm a lifelong vice president of the club, and so is Clive Lloyd. Again, we are we've been inducted as legends of Lancashire. Last year they had an induction ceremony, and Clive Lloyd, myself, and Jack Simmons were three only live cricketers. Other couple were posthumous awards.
Yorkshire issue, because it's current. We had a conversation with John Barnes, and the way the conversation went was, we should not be pursuing, with the vigour we are, individuals who made comments to Rafiki. What is really tragedy is the way that the institution of Yorkshire Cricket Club tried to close him down, shut him down, the way that the TCB shut it down, the way the institution denied there was a structural issue, an institutional issue.
John Barnes, did he suffer any racial discrimination himself?
Yes, he
because
did.
He was one of the first.
Yeah, he suffered it, but he tells a different story, and we've got that captured. But from your point of view, do you think that there's a structural issue in cricket that denies our South Asian cricketers getting to the top?
Yes, ECB could have handled it much better. Yorkshire County could have handled it much better. I don't think they realized that this fellow will go public, and you know, they just thought he's a little threat. You know, it'll keep him quiet. But I mean, the whole thing has been a sad episode, really. You know,
you may have a story yourself, but obviously I played cricket much lower level than you. But the youngsters I played with...
You were good, Jack.
I wasn't. The
you told me so yourself.
The youngsters I played with were good, but they were blocked from getting above the Colts level. So these young men that grew up to be fathers, three of them produced English cricketers. But because of the discrimination they faced in Warwickshire, their sons went to Worcester. So Kabir Ali, Shabir Ali, Moeen Ali, Syria. Now, Attock Cricket Club faced so much racism as individuals, they collected together as a team. So Attock Cricket Club in Birmingham is probably the top Asian club producing test level cricketers, not for Warwickshire, but for Worcestershire. So is there similar examples in your...
I'm not privy to that, so I'm in no position to comment about that. But if that's happened, it's sad. And it's high time it's rectified. Because I'm sure there are many Asians. You know, the way Indian and Pakistani players have been playing, the whole England team could be Asian cricketers.
Could be. So in India, let's try. One of the other issues of racism in cricket is about class. Is there a class issue in cricket as well, where in the UK, if you are of a
Jack, there's not a class issue only in England.
No,
we have a class issue in India.
That's where I was going to go. So in the UK, if you go to a private school, you're going to get the best wickets, the best coaching. Doesn't matter whether you're Asian or African. What's the?
I'll tell you a very simple example. I'm a Parsi, you know, and Parsis generally are Aryan race, and they're fairer in complexion and all that. That doesn't mean you're a superior. So I don't believe in that nonsense at all. But this fellow was a darkish Parsi, and he married an Irish girl, and they had their first child. So the mother asked me when I'd come back from England, did you see my grandchild? You know, who does she look like? I said, any mother would be pleased if I said, your grandchild looks just like your son. You know, but she was a bit displeased. So, in that case, you know, he must be dark and not fair as the... So, I mean, that class system exists in India, unfortunately. It still exists there. But, again, you see adverts in newspapers, fair wife. You know, anyone looking for she's got to be fair. She has better chance of getting a husband, you know. But, I mean, How stupid is this? You know, how naive are
Let's
we?
bring you back to cricket and your life in the UK. You've travelled the world, but you still settled here in the UK. So what keeps bringing you back to your home in Cheshire?
Well, home, I call India because I'm very proud to be an Indian. But I'm very, very proud, equally proud to be a Lancastrian, because the way they've looked after me, given me love and affection. And I've spent more years in England. That doesn't make me an Englishman. You know, I'm very much an Indian at heart. I enjoy eating with my hands, as you'll see me tonight. No?
Yeah.
But I'm very proud to be here. You know, if I'm not supporting India, I will definitely support England, you know, against Australia or any other country, because I feel I'm obliged to do that. They've been good to me here, and so this is my second home, so to say.
I think that's a good way to sum this the conversation up. South Asian, British youngsters will support India potentially against any other team. But when it comes to England, they'll always support England against Pakistan or against...
Yes, Jack, by the same token, I've come across young second-generation Indians who will support England.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them
My
at all.
son does it.
And I don't blame them at all, because they don't know.
Yeah.
They've not been to India. They've just heard about that the parents are from India. But they know nothing different. So I don't blame them at all for supporting. You know, it's their lookout, you know.
And sport is a great binder, great
Absolutely.
team builder, and that's what you've managed to get through cricket and through the love of the local community.
The very expression that you do something wrong is not cricket.
Yeah.
I mean that itself shows the loveliness of the game, you know, the humbleness of the game. And when these shenanigans go on in cricket, it saddens an old timer like me. You know, it saddens that it's ever happened, and saddens if it's actually happened. I don't know.
I think that's a lovely way to finish this conversation. Farokh Engineer's view about world life and life itself is that the term "it's not cricket." Well, some of these issues that arise in cricket, whether it be unfair play or whether it be discrimination or the Yorkshire, it's just not cricket. We ought to be playing it as the...
I know we're short of time. Can I just add something? In our time, we didn't play for money. We got paid 50 rupees a day. And I remember batting with Sunil Gavaskar against New Zealand. We were beating them in 4 days. And all sorts of messages were coming from the dressing room. Kid, don't finish the match this evening. We'll miss out on tomorrow's 50 rupees. 50 rupees? What is 50 rupees? I mean,
It was nothing even...
less than a pound. But you played for the love and for the pride of playing for your country. You know, you mentioned about my charity very kindly. I'm a patron of Atsalya Foundation in Mumbai. It's for homeless children who are abused by even their own relatives. They rush to the metropolis. They call the railway children also, because they come by trains and all that. And they're grabbed by unscrupulous people who turned young girls into prostitutes or whatever, you know. So this home gives them shelter, gives them clothing, food, teaches them a trade, and gives them a life that they wouldn't have had otherwise. So please support my charity. It's a wonderful cause.
For the Asian Philosophy Association, it's a pleasure to have a conversation with you, pleasure to support your charity once again, and we'll continue to support it as long as we can.
You're a buddy, Jack.
Thank
You've
you
always
very
been
much.
a buddy.
Cheers.
Thank you for the great work you're doing.